Welcome to lecture number 26. In this lecture we shall discuss about return ratio. Let us finally look at the return ratios. Return ratios calculate the return generated by the business on funds invested. The first ratio is return on capital employed or ROCE. The formula for ROCE is earnings before interest and tax, EBIT, divided by capital employed, CE. EBIT is given by PAT plus interest I plus tax T. Capital employed is given by net worth plus unsecured loans, USL, plus term loans, TL, plus current maturity of term loans, CMTL. Please note, capital employed are the long-term funds invested in the business. Is calculated by NW, net worth, plus USL, unsecured loan amount, plus TL, term loan amount, plus CMTL, current maturity amount of term loan. The second return ratio is the return on equity or ROE. ROE is given by profit after tax, PAT, divided by net worth of borrower. Let us look at the next slide for calculations with an example. Let us look at the calculation of ROCE from the balance sheet and the P&L statements of a borrower as on March 2015 and March 2016. The capital employed, CE, is net worth plus long-term debt. In this example, net worth equals paid up capital, 40 lakhs, plus reserves and surplus, 40 lakhs plus 10 lakhs plus 20 lakhs, plus unsecured loans as quasi-equity, 30 lakhs, equals rupees 140 lakhs. Quasi-equity is unsecured loans from friends only. Long-term debt, long-term outside liability, equals unsecured loans from NBFC and banks, 20 lakhs, plus term loan, 60 lakhs, plus current maturity of term loan, 15 lakhs, equals rupees 95 lakhs. The total capital employed is rupees 235 lakhs. The EBIT is rupees 62 lakhs, as calculated earlier. Thus, for 2014-15, the ROCE equals 62 lakhs divided by 235 lakhs, equal to 26.38%. Similarly, if we take the corresponding figures for the 31st of March 2016, the ROCE is equal to 25%. For the calculation of return on equity, we calculate the profit after tax and the net worth of borrower from the figures in the example. For 2014-15, profit after tax equals rupees 40 lakhs and the net worth of borrower equals rupees 140 lakhs. Thus ROE equals 40 lakhs divided by 140 lakhs equals 28.57%. Similarly, calculating for 2015-16, the ROE equals PAT, 53 lakhs, divided by net worth, 212 lakhs, equals 25%. Let us now look at the interpretation of the return ratios. Comparing the ratios calculated between 2014-15 and 2015-16, both ratios in 2014-15 are better in terms of return on capital. ROCE and ROE is higher in 2014-15 compared to 2015-16. As can be seen, despite increased profits, the return on capital has decreased. Let us summarize the ratio analysis done by the bankers in the session. We shall look at each of the ratios and their implications in the credit process being followed by the banker. First, the profitability ratios, net profit margin and EBITDA margin. For the bankers, higher the ratio, better it is. Higher ratio achieved by higher increase in volume and lower operating cycle is better. Higher EBITDA margin indicates better operational efficiency. Second is the leverage ratio, TOL by TNW and TOL by ATNW. For the banker, lower ratio is better. Higher ratio arising out of higher TOL and lower ATNW is quite bad as it indicates that the company is borrowing more and at the same time diverting funds. In general, high leverage ratio is not good from a lender's perspective. Third, we look at the liquidity ratios. The current ratio, from the banker's perspective. Higher current ratio associated with the lower operating cycle is best. Current ratio is to be analyzed with respect to operating cycle. The fourth ratios is the debt repayment ratios, ISCR and DSCR. From the banker's perspective. 1. A higher ratio indicates the higher debt repayment capability. 2. Higher ISCR associated with a lower operating cycle indicates that the borrower has the higher interest repayment capability, used for working capital loans. 3. Higher DSCR associated with lower operating cycle indicates that the borrower has the higher debt repayment capability, used for term loans. The fifth and the final ratio is the return ratio, ROCE and ROE. The banker interprets these ratios as 1. Higher ROCE indicates the higher return on capital employed which is desirable. 2. Higher ROE indicates the higher return on equity which is desirable. We have now covered the ratio analysis from banker's perspective. The ratio analysis gives the banker the ability to interpret the financial statements and take the right credit decision on behalf of the bank. Thank you for watching this lecture.